So you can start.
Yeah. Good evening to all the members who are joining this refresher course on bank branch audit. Friends, I'm Naresh Chandragili, Secretary of SIRC of ICAI, welcoming all the members who have registered for this refresher course on bank branch audit. Bank branch audit is one of the very important assignments for us as a chartered accountant. A lot of members look forward to be part of this process. This process was started quite some time back, few decades back, when we had this audit, which was on a manual mode. From there, we moved on to technology, and a job which was taking 2-3 months is now trying to be completed within 25 days. So in that 25 days, as a branch auditor, we have maximum 3 to 5 days. At this point of time, we need to be ready to face the challenge of satisfying ourselves and ensuring that we are satisfied that all the documents are verified and the branch accounts are true and fair, and based on which we give our audit report. For last 2 days, yesterday we had topics being identified. We invited speakers. Yesterday we had the topic of IRAC norms and audit of advances by CA Ramesh S. And second topic was bank audit planning and documentation by CA Niranjan Joshi. And today we have 2 technology topics, and we have invited CA Kuntal P. Shah from Ahmedabad, who will be talking on technology as an audit tool in bank audit. And next topic would be new LFAR and other certificates by CA Premnath from Hyderabad. So to start with, I'd like to briefly introduce CA Kuntal P. Shah. CA Kuntal Shah is a Bachelor of Commerce from Gujarat University and a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He has secured A+ grade in Diploma in Computer Programming of Center for Development of Advanced Computing, the R&D organization of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. He is a practicing chartered accountant since 2007. He is currently practicing in the fields of audit, income tax, GST, FEMA, and company law. He has been a regular speaker in various training programs, certificate courses, and seminars organized by ICAI across India. He has contributed through writing of various publications published by regional councils of ICAI, AASB, IASB, and CIT of ICAI New Delhi. He has dealt with the subjects relating with bank statutory and concurrent audits, company law, income tax, use of MS Excel for auditor, tax and regulatory nuances of cryptocurrencies, to name a few. This is with a very brief profile. I would like to introduce CA Kuntal P. Shah, and I would request him to address on the topic technology is an audit tool in bank audit. So Kuntal Shah.
Thank you, Naresh sir. Thank you for the introduction.
Kuntal, you can start your presentation, please.
Yeah. Thank you for the invitation as well as the introduction. It is indeed a pleasure to be part of SIRC, and it is always that we look for this kind of seminar from SIRC, because the participation as well as the management of SIRC is also keen on imparting knowledge to all the participants. Today I have been assigned with a topic for technology as an audit tool in the bank. I'll be covering a part of it only because the actual presentation actually takes about 6 to 7 hours, so it's not going to be possible today. However, I have already shared my complete presentation as well as the write-up with SIRC, and that same will be available to all the participants as well. If possible, we'll take some question and answer as well. However, it all depends on the permitted time. So quickly starting through this one, since I'm an auditor like you, I'll start with my disclaimer. These are my personal views and cannot be considered the views of ICAI, regional council, or my firm. It should not be considered as professional advice. Images, screenshot, menu codes, etc. The name of property of the software developer and trademark owner, and information in this presentation is not for commercial. It is for guidance only. So this is what the actual flow that I thought of. However, I have a certain limitation today, so I need to complete it by 6 o'clock to catch a flight. However, this is what the flow of presentation, that use of CBS, that when we say about use of technology enabling the audit, then we need to think it from various perspectives. Use of CBS for bank branch audit, that is directly working onto the CBS. Second part is Excel. I think Premnath sir is there, so he'll assist you in the second part. So at least he shared this with me, so I am completely relieved on that aspect. Third part is the use of CAT tools. Now we need, as an auditor, we need to now move on to the next level as well. It has data analytics is a very important one. So once we have reached to certain level, we need to move on to the CAT tools as well. So currently, let's go about the CBS part. Few of the CBS used in India and world over. Finacle, FlexCube, and TCS banks widely used in India. Finacle currently has 2 active versions. Most of the banks are now on Finacle 10. The other version is Finacle 7, the earlier version. Then comes the FlexCube and the banks, that is by Tata Consulting Services. The other 2 softwares, Alnova Financial Solutions and SAP Banking Services, are not used in India, are used the other part of the world. Before starting, I would like to draw attention to all the participants, though I think yesterday you might have gone into these updates. That is, there are there is a master circular on IRAC dated 1st of October 2021. Then there is a clarification that was issued by Reserve Bank of India on 12th of November 2021. And then the further clarification dated 15th of February 2022. What we'll do is we'll only touch upon the points which are impacting the system part in the bank audit. So let's take that those part, and friends, this is going to be a very important for all of us, because there are large number of changes through the clarification, and it is having a far-reaching impact, at least with respect to the amendment into the system and application through the system. Para 2.1.3 of IRAC circular says that in case of interest payment, bank should classify an account as NPA only if interest due and charge during any quarter is not serviced. Whereas the clarification on in the month of November stated that it has to be which remains overdue for more than 90 days. So the reference to the quarter is completely removed now. So the system requires complete change into the logic, whereby the rolling 90-day period is to be applied into. Then comes the out of order. Same thing has happened here, where the reference to the balance sheet date was there in the earlier circular. Now as per the clarification, it is mentioned that it has to be looked into from the perspective of previous 90-day period, that is rolling day basis. So initially it used to be, we used to check it from the end of that is on 31st of March, that what is there with a 90-day period in terms of out of order, at least at the branch level. Otherwise, the center statutory audit level, we had multiple balances, that is on June, September, and so on and so forth. 15th of February circular has categorically clarified with respect to the day which is to be considered, even to that extent. So it has said that inclusive of the day for which the day end process is being run. So that is quite clear guidelines available from RBI now. So we can't say that the guidelines are on an ambiguous one or no. Clarifications of November as well as February has clarified a lot of points which were considered to be some ambiguity kind of thing till now. But this time RBI has categorically clarified a lot of things, and I think that should rest all these issues that we were facing. One more important aspect is, if you can see that on 15th of February, it has been stated that Out of order definition is applicable to all loan products being offered as an overdraft facility, meaning thereby you might have found some banks issuing or giving facility like drop line OD or such kind of facility where the product is an hybrid version of loan as well as CC account or an OD account. Whereas earlier, what used to happen, we had a tough time as an auditor to convince the bank that it has to be considered as an OD only, and out of order would be applicable into this case. And hence, if there are no sufficient credit to cover the debit, then also this account is required to be considered as an NPA, because the banks used to say that these accounts are for the NPA purpose are in the nature of term loans, right? So such kind of thing we used to find a lot of resistance, but RBI has put this entire issue in the rest by clarifying it, and we should welcome this part as well. However, as from the IT perspective, I would always say that please check that whether systems are set up in such a in such a manner or not, whereby all these things are incorporated. Why I'm saying this, there is a reason to it. And to LFAR, we need to mention that whether all the accounts have been correctly classified as an NPA, SMA is properly identified, upgrade, downgrades, everything is requiring an specific, there is a specific questions into LFAR, and we need to think it from that perspective as well. If at all you find any of the account which is not classified and still continuing at performing asset, you need to see the appropriate clause into LFAR as well for the reporting. This is also one of the important circular. I would say that apart from this 3 circular, though this circular was issued in 2020, I would say that please go through this circular. This is an excellent circular with respect to providing guidance for automation of NPA process and other systems. So this is referred to in para 4.2.2 as well. Bank should establish appropriate internal systems, including technology enabled processes for proper and timely identification of NPAs, including putting in the necessary infrastructure to comply with the requirements of the circular dated 14th of September 2020 on automation of income recognition, asset classification and provisioning processes in bank. Asset classification, now these are the important points, though I have not considered all the points. These are the important points which stated that asset classification to be included in day-end process, meaning thereby now on daily basis the assets are required to be checked for its performing status. Hence you may find that on daily basis there are new NPAs that are coming into fore, as well as the upgrades that are happening on a daily basis. So gone are the days where it used to be a month end or a quarter end exercise. Now it is the exercise is to be done on the day end as well. It has to be a rule based classification. You cannot say that I'll exclude this account or I'll include this account. There cannot be. The system should be configured in such a way that based on the rules prescribed by Reserve Bank of India, the system should also have such rules into the system, and system should behave in that manner. Computation of provision should also be based on system based rules. See, these all the points, when you read it, right, you find that it is very difficult for us as an auditor to check all these things. The important point is in LFAR you need to give at least somewhere or the other, you need to mention your comment onto the compliance with the same, and at that point of time it is going to be a very difficult task for us, that we are not in a position to report properly, or if we report something then it might turn out to be the incorrect reporting. So this is the point that wanted to discuss on up to technology side. One point is that on upgradation, there was also a lot of if you all remember that this point is also discussed quite a number of time in earlier years, that when we can upgrade the account, if the account's area is less than 90 days or the entire overdue is required to be recovered. So RBI has categorically clarified now entire overdue is required to be recovered before upgrading an account as standard. However, we need to ensure that all the overdues, including the overdues in other account of the borrower, because the word used are paid by the borrower, meaning thereby across all the facilities. So at the time of upgrade, whether all the facilities are checked by the system, and if at all there is a 1 rupee overdue, then also this account cannot be upgraded. So these are massive scale changes, and as an auditor it should it will work in that sense that I would have a greater responsibility in reviewing this part as a system. So you need to be prepared with this one, that you need to at least ask the banker specific questions, that how you have deployed this one, if any process documents are there to confirm that or the conditions that have been prescribed into the system. We need to ask them, we need to ask for information. If we don't get it, then we need to appropriately mention it in our audit report, stating that we have asked for such kind of information, or we could get only this one, or we could not get anything from the bank, and we are not in a position to offer our remarks. Or if the response is received, we need to review that part along with the actual cases. So let's discuss on certain aspects that wanted to share with respect to the system. I would like to share a few of my thought processes on though the systems are correctly set up in many of the cases, however, because of certain errors in masters or certain mischievous or some foul play, the accounts are not getting classified as NPA. Whereas as an auditor, it becomes very important for us to search for such kind of events, that there might be a possibility of accounts not getting identified as NPA. So what I have done is that I compiled about 12-13 of such instances, and I also added my comments on the system support, that what to verify and from where to verify, that is with under which system we can verify in which way. So that also I have included. Just to start with this, since years Ministry of Finance and Reserve Bank of India is stating that it is mandatory for banks to identify the bad loans through CBS system instead of conventional method. Now we have a comprehensive circular as well of 14th of September 2020. As we all are aware, CBS is like other software which work on GIGO principle, that is garbage in, garbage out. So you can't expect a magic out of a system when a garbage is thrown into the system. So we need to understand that part, and we need to understand that whatever is the data input or the masters would play an important role in correct identification of bad loans. So from now on onwards, that is from next slide onwards, we will be discussing those scenarios where there might be an issue with a correct identification of bad loans. So the first scenario, that is discrepancy in setting up of the EMI or the installment. Now what happens is that during audit we find that there are some differences between EMI setup into the system as well as and the EMI set prescribed into the sanction letter. So let's take an example how it can affect the NPA identification. Assuming that the system is set up in a way that the installment amount is updated as 20,000 with an extended loan expiry period than what is mentioned in sanction letter, whereas the sanction letter says that the repayment is required to be done at, let's say, 30,000 rupees. So now what happens is that the borrower got a sanction letter wherein 30,000 rupees is required to be repaid. So borrower would start making payment at 30,000 rupees, assuming that the loan was sanctioned on 1st of April, just for the clarity purpose. So on 1st of April, so for the month of April, system will say that 20,000 is due, borrower will say pay 30,000 rupees. So the borrower has paid what more than what the system has asked for, that is 10,000 rupees is overflow. Thereafter same thing is in the month of May, June. So 10 10 10 30,000 is overflow as on 30th of June. From 1st of July, that is July month onwards, the borrower is not making payment of any installment, right? So what happens is that system would be nullifying those overflow position against the installment that is due into the system, that is 20,000 rupees. Against 20,000, the 30,000 is knocked off, so 10,000 still overflow. In the month of in the month of August, system will say that 20,000 is due, whereas overflow position of 10,000 and nothing is paid by the borrower. So 10,000 rupees will go as an overdue position. Now in the month of September, again no payment is there. So 30,000 rupees, 20,000 plus 10,000 overdue earlier, that is 30,000 is overdue. Now in that scenario, what happens is system will not be classifying this account as NPA in the month of September, stating that the overdue position is not equivalent to 90-day norm, right? So in that scenario, what we need to look it into the aspect is that we need to prepare a comprehensive Excel sheet. That is what I suggest to all the participants wherever I go for session. The Excel sheet should contain first three columns, that is column A, column B, column C. In the rows, we need to mention account number, cost ID, and customer name. And in the separate columns, that is called starting column D, we need to prepare what is the EMI amount or an installment amount in system, EMI as per sanction letter. Is there any material difference between the same way interest rate? A lot of things will go as and when we progress into this one. I'll be informing that we need to mention that what is interest rate into the system, what is interest rate as per sanction letter, right? Likewise, what is the start date of loan, what is the start date of interest, that is principal repayment, interest repayment, any moratorium period prescribed, what is there in system, what is there in sanction letter. So we need to have a comprehensive file prepared for this one. Either we take it from report or through the system, that we need to check. But the actual sanction letter part is required to be updated, so that it becomes a complete working paper, as well as we can have a 360-degree view of particular account with different issues that we might be facing. What we need to do is, once we find some discrepancies, we need to check it from the perspective of NPA identification as well. So whether this error or whether this problem will affect the NPA identification, we need to think it from that perspective. So this is what this presentation is all about, that perspective. So what are the auditor's primary check in this particular point? That is whether EMI or installment is correctly set up, whether EMI installment amount is matching with the sanction term, whether periodicity of installment is correctly classified as per sanction term, right? So these are our should be our question. And from which system we can, what is the system support available? We can go to the Finacle ACI option E for the repayment detail. Finacle 10 has a command called HECM. In TCX banks, we can go to the DLTL account services, inquiry and account. Short and long inquiry options both are available under the menu. Alternatively, we can check it this from if any report is available. Generally in advances report, the information is available. We can check that part as well. Then comes the second part, that is multiple set of EMI. So there are certain type of loans where the multiple set of EMIs are set up. That is, for first 5 years, the EMI would be of, let's say, 7,000 rupees, and after 5 years EMI would be reset to 7,500 rupees. Right now, in one of the case, what we observed was that there was a substantial difference between the first set of EMI, that is up to 1 to 5 years, and 5 years onwards. So first set was 5,000 rupees, and the second set was 1 lakh rupees a month. Now it is insane, and it can't be in such a way. However, whereas the sanction letter was saying something else only. Right, so it is clearly a case of complete erroneous updation into the system, affecting my NPA identification. Right, so in such cases, we should be looking into that. Are there any material differences between the two? And if so, we first and the foremost thing is that we need to report, we need to get it corrected. That is true, but whether that is affecting my NPA identification or not, if so, we need to mention that part as well. See, by and large, the banks are now moving on to the complete automation of system. Yes, there might be issue observed into this identification part. However, such kind of issues, if they issues are there, then the system would not be functioning as it should function. So we need to check such kind of thing as well. Now this is where a lot of things go around: manipulation in sanction limit and drawing power. Now let's understand the out of order status definition once again. That it says that if the account is continuously in excess of sanction limit or drawing power, whichever is less, for a 90-day period, then the account should be classified as an NPA. Now in that scenario, what happens is, let's say my account limit is 1 lakh rupees and my balance is continuously in excess of 1 lakh rupees since last 89 days. right? Maximum debit, maximum balance is 1,15,000 debit, right? So in that scenario, what happens is that if at all one more day pass through this kind of thing, then the account will turn into NPA. So now, if someone would have changed the sanction limit from 1 lakh to 1,25,000 into the system, right, along with the DP, or either side where the effective part is 125 in the limit, what the system will do, system will check this as an effective part, that is lower of SL and DP, which is 125, and we'll check it with the balance right now. In that scenario, it will be observed that the balance outstanding is 1,15,000, whereas the limit is now increased to 125. So it is within the limit. After 1 day or 2 days, the limit is restored back to 1 lakh. In that scenario, the entire sequence of counting of 90 days will start afresh. And in that scenario, what will happen is that the account got saved. It can be an error, it can be an intentional, it can be unintentional as well. I don't want to allege anyone or anything, but these are the possibilities that we also should be looking into. So as I have stated earlier, that we need to maintain an Excel file to consider punch in the certain basic details. You need to include this sanction limit and the drawing power as well, what is there in the sanction letter, what is there in the system, and we also need to have that sanction limit or a drawing power, any changes during the year into that or not. If yes, then date of change, and we need to check for whether the sanction letter and the drawing power is available, and the changes, the sanction letter is available for the changes into that SL or DP or not, or and if at all you find that no, it was done through error, just check that, fair enough, you accept that it is an error, but we need to just check that whether that error has impacted my NP identification or not, right? So please keep this in mind. From where you can do it, you can do it through ACL HM, account limit history maintenance. Into that, when you go into that, you need to do it exercise 2 times. That is, first time you will be able to check sanction limit with code S, and the other second time you need to use the code D for the drawing power. Any changes into the sanction limit, you need to just jot it down, check with the branch that whether there was any fresh sanction or some other benefit that was given to that account, or whether many of the time it has been observed that the ad hoc facility is given just on the 89th day, right? So is there any of such scenario? Now that is you can give an ad hoc limit, that's not an issue at all, but the RBI categorically states that you cannot give a loan to repay the other loans, right? So that is also the guideline that we need to keep in mind, and we need to see to it that whether that is getting complied or not. In from TCS, in TCS Bank, you can go to the deposit CCOD account services and interest rate history. Under interest rate history, you can find the changes in SL as well as DP. That's a drop down menu. Into that from the drop down menu, you can find that as well. Many of the banks, they do have a report as well on a daily basis that in these many accounts there are SL and the DP changes. However, yearly reports are not available. Daily report would be difficult to comprehend or check. So whatever are the number of samples that we are taking, we need to check at least these aspects, and that will at least give us an insight onto this particular aspect. Then comes the moratorium period, interest start date, and installment start date. 3 aspects. So let's say that in sanction letter, the moratorium is given for 3 months. That is, the installment should start off, let's say, 1st of October 2021. But in system, it is updated as installment to be starting at 1st of October 2022. It might be an error, but it will completely affect my NP identification part. Reason being, the system will not mark any amount as due till 1st of October 2022, whereas as per sanction letter, it should have started demanding the repayment from 1st of October 2021. So please check that in terms of, if the moratorium is given in terms of months or a year, we need to check whether the same is matching with sanction letter. In case it is with respect to the installment start date, then whether the installment start date is correctly updated, we should understand and we should check this one. Let's say installment start date is to be updated as 1st of August 2021. and if it is in system, it is updated as 1st of September 2021, then also there will be a problem, though it is of only 1 month. So we need to check that whether the same is correctly captured into the system or not, otherwise there might be a problem. The same thing is there for the interest demand as well. See, everything goes through into the system, it is based on the due dates and the overdues, right? So now what happens is we need to focus on such aspects, that whether the same are properly reported and updated into the system, then only the system will work perfectly fine. Otherwise the system will only go, as we have discussed, it works on a gigo principle. So we need to understand that whether system is properly configured enough, that is first aspect. If system is properly configured enough, but whether user or some master data is creating trouble, right, that we need to check. One slide we have skipped, that is on the refacement without reporting and reschedulement. Under the revised LFAR, we have reporting requirement whereby we are required to do transaction detailing in case of account selected beyond threshold limit, and system and the control review for cases which are below threshold. So in that scenario, what we need to see to it, that are there any refacements into the account, whether that refacement is because of some regulatory based backing, or that is rephased just to benefit the borrower, whereby it gets classified under the guidelines of restructuring, whether such accounts have been reported as restructured accounts or not. So at the time of reviewing account, again you need to put it this part into an Excel file that we are discussing as a separate column, that whether any refacement during there, how to do it, that is already mentioned here into the system, or if anything is available into the filing part, that is the communication file or sanction file, whether something is there which is showing any benefit passed on to the borrower, right? Just check that. And if at all there is a reschedulement but not reported as restructured one, then what will happen is this account will not be classified as NPA by the system. The moment you mark it as restructured, then only the account will be classified as NPA, or if there are regulatory benefits available, whether how the same is handled, that is what we need to check. Then comes again one more menace, that in case of an out of order status, one of the part is that account is within the limit, however there are no sufficient credit to cover the interest debits. So let's say the limit is 1 lakh rupees, account is less than 1 lakh rupees only during last 90 days, however there is no credit at all into the account against the interest debited. Now such accounts are also required to be classified as NPA as per that out of order status norms. Now what happens is that in such cases we have observed that there have been various instances of debiting and crediting the same account, that is also a possibility. Secondly, we have observed that certain fictitious entries were originated through office account or an interbranch account, and later on the same day or after 1 or 2 days, the same got reversed with a narration that it's a wrong entry reversal. There might be the wrong entry without any intention, but we need to check wherever there are wrong entry reversals, we need to ignore the credit summation, that amount in considered in the credit summation part, and then we need to look afresh whether assuming that if this entry would not have been there, whether the account would have turned into NPA or not. That is what is very important for us to consider that part. So please check this. Now it's a rolling 90-day period now. So earlier we used to check it at the end of the quarter or a year, but now it is entire year that we need to look it into. Now here I would suggest that as an auditor, we need to start having our specific development of mind in reading of statements. Now, account statement reading is also an art. You can also create an entire psyche of a person by reading the account statement, how the person behaves, what is the quality of compliance that imbibed into that particular person. right? So that you need to check how the account is, how he is operating his account in the normal business parlance, how the account should have been operated, how he is operating, and based on that you can understand whether their account is having any inherent weakness or not. So this is one of the aspect, that is fictitious credit through office account and inter branch account. Please don't leave everything onto the reports. That is my sincere request. Do not ever leave your entire auditing on the reports that are generated onto the from the system. Carry out your work as well, review the statements or carry out processes on the statement as well. I think Premnath sir would be detailing on to that part, how to process the reports. Simply by just going by the report, that this report is not saying anything, so that's okay, fair enough, you can take it as a starting point, but you can't frame your opinion based on those reports. You need to work onto that report. You need to see to that, are you getting any different signals than what is there at the 31st of March? It may so happen that on the 31st of March everything is looking at a rosy picture, but might not be the case during the year. Now this time we have already discussed on the upgradation side. You can't upgrade the account in a normal manner. You need to ensure that for upgrading an account you need to recover the entire due. So it may so happen that the account might have turned into NPA on 20th of March, however might have been saved by any of these methods, and as on 31st of March it is overdue but not 90-day overdue. But if you ignore that part or if you remove that part, the account would turn into an NPA and it will completely change the picture of the branch balance sheet. So please check that. Do not desist with your age old practice of reviewing the statement, because in earlier years we used to do it manually as well through the pages where the account statements were there, and now we need to do it through the system. The system support is mentioned onto the screen. Please do that. If at all you find any issue with any of the account, export the account statement, work onto that statement, just see to it that how the account is getting operated. Then comes the round tripping. This is also a very problematic area, that 2 accounts, 3 accounts, 4 accounts are used for round tripping of funds. It has been observed that even the third parties accounts were also used to originate a transaction. So let's say A's account is completely a non-connected accounts, whereas XYZ 3 accounts are there where there are very low credit turnover. So what was observed that A's account got debited with 10 lakh of rupees to transfer to X, then to Y, then to Z, and then again back to A. The reversal into the A's account was containing a narration that the wrong entry reversal. So before even the A says anything to the bank, he got his amount back. So he is least concerned with that part. However, by doing so, there is an complete revival of all these 3 accounts without even getting any solitary credit or actual credit, right? So we need to see to it such kind of thing, that are there any things happening into the account. Wherever you find that account which are having very less amount of credit, or where the credit is coming and immediately the debit is going, or the credit and the debit is from the same party, just a current account to CC account, CC current, CC current. So just such kind of thing we need to look into in detail, whether this is actually a transaction it is, or it is completely a hogwash, right? So that's what is very important for us to see to it. Then comes the temporary overdraft. Temporary overdrafts are again a tool to give a facility to the borrower, whereby through that temporary overdrafts the borrower would be utilizing the amount by taking additional facility and then showing it the other side of the repayment, right? So such kind of things are very rampant. First and the foremost thing is that we need to do is that if you are doing an audit of a bank where the finacle is there, generate a report called TOD-RP, TOD register printing. TODs are basically of having 3 events, that is single TOD, running TOD, and ad hoc TOD, S, R, and A. Now what happens is that single TOD is only a TOD where you, at the time processing of transaction, the account did not have sufficient limit or the balance. So to process that transaction only for that transaction, a TOD is given, the moment the transaction is processed, and after that, if someone that the borrower is depositing some amount, there won't be any additional limit available to the borrower for that particular single TOD. So it is not a limit that is set up into the account. Only one transaction is getting processed. Whereas in the running and the ad hoc TOD, you will get an additional limit for a certain period. So once that period is there, the borrower will be in a position to repay back the amount within that period. Let's say it's running account for running TOD for 7 days, right? So after 7 days, the limit would be marked as 0 into the system. There have been instances that we have observed that even the expiry date was not updated into ad hoc TOD, meaning thereby ad hoc TOD was a parallel limit given to the account. Now that is more dangerous part into this one. Second part that we can check it from TOD RP is that what we need to do is we need to apply the pivot and with the count option, that how many TODs the single person got, because we need to mention it there in the LFAR as well. Are there any instances of frequent TODs or not? So that particular aspect would be dealt by that particular report as well. So please, we need to we can do 2-3 exercise with this one. Third thing that we need to do is, once we zero it on the TODs or TOD entry, what we need to see is that after getting TOD, what the account has carried out. So it is not that you only need to chase those accounts where multiple TODs are there. If you find that there is a scare or one or twice 2 cases of TOD, right, what is the reason for 1 or 2 TOD and what the person has done with that TOD. Just a minute. Yeah, sorry. So what we need to do is that we need to check what is used in how the balance was, how the TOD was used, whether there was any originating, what's the originating entry, where the end funds are going. If time permit, I'll quickly show you 2-3 snapshots what we have observed during our auditing, and you can see that the blatant level of misuse of this temporary overdrafts. Then comes the devolved bills parked in office account and not in limit account. This is also age-old practice of in many of the banks, that when there is an LC that got devolved, in that scenario, what would happen is that the bills would actually be required to be debited to the operative account, right? It should not be debited to some other account or some office account. So in that scenario, what we need to see to it, that one option is that we check all these devolved cases that is under LC only, right? And we see to it that which are the customers whose bills are getting devolved. And secondly, what we need to check it is this, that where the capitalization of amount happened into that case. In that is one of the aspects. Second aspect is that during verification at the end of the year into the office account, if we find that any of the office account is having a substantial balance, we need to check that why this balance is, if at all there is any devolved bill parked into the account, then also there is a problem. Thirdly, during the review of advance account, just see to it that when we get an entire advance report, right, we need to see that any additional facilities created in the name of devolved bill account. Because what will happen is that if you don't debit it into the CC account, now let's say CC account is already going beyond 80, currently at an 88 days overdue, there is a devolved bill. So once the bill is debited, then what will happen is they'll go again into more debit. So borrower might have planned that some amount the borrower will be putting into, or borrower will be putting into, but because of this debit, the account will further go into the debit and will not overcome the 90-day part. However, if you transfer it to some other account, then at least by depositing some amount into that existing account, you can save that account, and the new number of days computation will start from for the default bills. So such kind of things are not permitted at all. If at all you find that you need to recreate the entire account statement by debiting, including this aspect, and reconsidering that whether if this would have been done, whether the account would have been marked as NPA or not. So please check from that aspect as well. Now this is a bit old one, that is multiple cost ID to save other account from becoming NPA, because it has to be, the NPA should be the borrower wise, not the facility wise. In case of the borrower, when we say that it should be a borrower wise, so borrower is identified through the cost ID. Now there is a new concept, though I cannot say that it's a new concept, it's since about 5 to 6 years old, the UCIC concept, that is unique customer identification code. So since banks had opened multiple cost IDs for the same customer, so RBI came up with the new regulation of UCIC, where the customer should be given a unique customer identification code, whereby the customer should be identifiable with only one number, right? So the NPA should be based on one. However, recently in one of the seminar, I was informed by one of the participants that banks have now started opening new UCICs as well. Maybe a stray case, maybe one of the case that the auditor might have observed there, right? But if that is the case, then it should be an alarming situation for us. What should be our process in this scenario, or how to tackle such kind of scenario is this. What we need to do is we just need to take the NPA report and need to see the names of the person. We can apply a technique called fuzzy logic as well. I don't know, I think Premnath sir will be dealing with this one, or if he is also not having time, you can just review, check at the Google that what is fuzzy logic and how you can apply it into the, yeah, okay, so he'll be going to do, yeah, so he confirmed that he will be doing it. So that would be that you apply it from that, are there any names appearing in NPA report, are there into this PA listing as well or not. If at all you find some degree of match and you find some account, right, so let's say in NPA report you find that Kuntal P Shah's name is in the NPA, whereas in PA it is Kuntal Shah, right, or Kuntal double space Shah, or kind of thing, right? So we need to first ascertain whether both the persons are same or not. That is only an indication given by the system. Thereafter we need to check whether the accounts belong to the same person by verifying various documents submitted by that person and some attributes of that person. You can do it through the system as well. In Finacle, you have two excellent menu codes, that is ACS, that is account selection, that is you can search based on name, and the another one is LAGI, that is loan account general inquiry based on other parameters, that is name and some other attributes as well. In TCS banks, you can do it through customer management inquiry and search by name. So these are all the options that are available to us to verify such kind of thing. Though the possibility is remote, however, we cannot be ruling that out. Then comes the project loans, the important one, because we have at least I have not observed in any of the bank where the project loan identification of NPA based on DCCO dates, because the system is not configured enough to capture the projected DCCO, or that is date of commencement of commercial operations, actual DCCO, extended DCCO into the system. Now, when you dissect this entire circular of IRAC into different segments, you will find that there are multiple events or multiple aspects through which the account can be classified as NPA. Now, one of the condition is that if the DCCO is not met with, even though the payment is there, right, that part is also considered as one of the event for identifying the account as NPA. So how this is handled into the system, if you find anything into this one, then please report it that it is not an automated process, it is a manual process. Hence I am repeating once again, please ask the bank how many processes are there which are manual into for NPA identification. So the immediate question is that which process you are referring to. So what you need to do is you need to go through the entire IRAC circular. You need to dissect this entire IRAC circular into 4 parts, that is downgrading, upgrading, provisioning, and revenue recognition. right? These 4 part, you copy paste all this entire circular text into the different 4 segments, right? Give a reference to the paragraph number into one of the this one in Excel. Now what you need to do is you need to give for downgrading, upgrading, provisioning and income recognition. You need to ask the bank specifically that I want a process document for this one, this one, this one, this one, and what is not there into the system or what is manual. And for manual, what documents do you have to carry out, or what process you carry out. Most of the time I observed that you might not be getting it, but if at all you are not getting it, you can put it, use that as an disclaimer or the qualification of report as well. However, before doing any disclaimers or the qualification, ensure that you have proper communication with the management. You simply cannot do it on a one-way streak, right? So that's what the things are. Sir, I have 2 options. Managing committee members, I have 2 options. I can show some case studies, or we can take some question as well, if there are any.
I think case study would be better, sir.
Okay. So let's
the questions
quickly
will definitely ask members mail. Those mail will definitely compile it and send it.
Yeah, that can also be there. Or what we can do is, the last year or a year before we have done is that one more seminar just to clarify the Q&A session kind of thing. So that we can think it off.
We are planning on that. I'll definitely get back to you on that.
Yeah, sure, not an issue, sir. Yeah. Or I can respond back to you if I'm not in a position to join that part, right? But we can have different Q&A sessions, so that will be more useful to everyone as well, right?
Sure, right.
Yeah. Okay. So I am quickly now taking to the case study. Now this is what the practical aspect. I think Premnath sir is going to discuss on that one. So I am not touching upon these parts, related party, because I attended this session at least twice or thrice. So I am aware of what he is speaking. So I'll not be touching upon those parts. These are the external systems as well, which we can make use of. Now this is the case where new loans were sanctioned. 4 accounts were there, not having were going into NPA. So 4 new loans were sanctioned. The disbursal and the loan proceeds directly went to the repayment of the earlier loans. So the net exposure increase was exactly the same as what the dispersal of new loans. So no change, not a single rupee that the borrowers brought in, right? So the only amount that was added as repayment was entirely from the sanction of a new loan. So that is completely not in terms of RBI guideline. So we need to report in that way. Now this is what the TOD that I was referring to. M Private Limited in a current account got a TOD for 16th of March to 22nd of March. It was not regularized till 31st of March. So the balance in current account was 998,754 debit. So what was more important to us was that how a current account was in a debit balance, and if at all there was something, right, then with that TOD what the current account did, that particular person did. So when we went into the system and checked the account statement, we found that immediately after getting a TOD, some 10 lakh of rupees was transferred to one of the borrower's account. The borrower account, when we looked into it, that it was nearing to 90 days overdue. So with this 10 lakh, he got some ray of hope. So it was like an oxygen that the borrower could get. And that M Private Limited overdue is of only 9 days. So you cannot even classify that M Private Limited as NPA, nor you can classify anything on the borrower account. But when we linked both the things together, it was very crystal clear, and we could make opinion there itself. Now the screen that you are seeing right now is an actual screen where you find that the entries of 9 crore, 3 crore, 9 crore, 9 crore, 9 crore, 9 crore. There were about 12 to 13 entries, right? So same account debit, current account debit, CC account credit kind of thing was going on into this account. Please see to it how the things are moving around, how the transactions are spanning across, and you can make your own assessment whether there is any pattern, or are there any transaction without any economic benefit, visible economic benefit, right? How the things are moving around. Now, this is the classic case where there is a loss of audit trail, though we could finally confirm that yes, this was a case of saving an account through TOD and then routing it through cash withdrawal and deposit. So in this account, the account was short of about 6 lakh of rupees. So the account got a TOD, the current account got a TOD. From that TOD, the borrower withdrew the money, and immediately the next entry was the deposit of money into the loan account. Exactly the same amount, exactly the same time, same teller, everything same. And the account was saved by depositing into the CC account. So that was a new loan sanction for the saving the other loan. So that is completely against this one. This is all the same, but on a larger scale. That we had around 5 accounts involved into this one. That about 48 lakh rupees were deposited after the banking hours, even after the cash was closed and the vault was closed. Right, within a span of 4 minutes, that we found that there are 3 borrowers who deposited collectively 48 lakh rupees on 30th of March. So we were told that these accounts we could get the cash recovery, right? And hence, in a normal scenario, it looked out a very perfect this one. However, certain things were not adding up, so we went into the detail. We went to the detail of teller side. So when we opened the teller account, we found that there are 2 accounts with the 2 persons who were ready to withdraw 48 lakh rupees as well, even after banking hours. So that was more interesting to us. Then we looked into once again that whether the current account is already having balance or not. So then we found that the current account was not having a single rupee of balance, so that they can withdraw. Right. So how could they manage to withdraw? Because the both accounts got a TOD of 24 lakh or 25 lakh rupees. So with that TOD, there was the entry that was shown was that they both withdrew about 48 lakh rupees. So in nutshell, not a single rupee went into the vault. So see, such kind of things would be there. Please keep your eyes and ear open. Just see to it that many of the time what happens is that we find that something looks pretty normal, but it turns out to be something very difficult as well. So we need to recalibrate our strategies. We can't simply go on with the same strategy. We need to use the systems. We need to use Excel, right? Different sources available. If you are doing a branch, a very big branch, then you need to even use Power Query or the CAT tools kind of thing as well. Availability of data is also a challenge, that I cannot say that it is freely available, but that is also a challenge. The other point that we observed was in agriculture loan that used for immovable property, business, or purchase of an high-end car, there was not a single rupee used for agriculture purpose, right? That's a completely a diversion of fund. And with the diversion of fund, you get a lower interest rate benefit, as well as you get a longer period of identification. And the most important is the benefit of political scheme like loan waivers. This was a classic case where this was a consortium account where the total security of a consortium was 2,500 crore. Whereas the bank share was about 750 crore in the total outstanding, and being a 10% banker, the value that was available, the security appropriation value was about 250 crore. Now, what has happened was that this account was NPA. However, in system, they have updated the security value as 2,500 crore instead of 250 crore. Now, what has happened is that the system considered this entire overdue as fully secured, whereas we were aware of that this account should not have full security because it was not sanctioned as fully secured since beginning. So there was 500 crore of unsecured advances. However, since the system, it was fed into the system that 2,500 crore security, system considered this as 750 being less than 2,500 as entirely secured. So the provisioning part, there was an impact, huge impact. So we had to give an MOC for provisioning requirement to the extent of 500 crore and the applicable percentage on 500 crore being the unsecured portion. So please see to it that such kind of small errors also, it should not crop up into that one. So whenever you check the system, that is whenever you check this transaction or the masters, right, also check the security value as well, and especially in case of NPA part. So I think this is what, sir, I wanted to share. If one or two questions are there, I can take, or else I'll take your leave.
Yes, sir. We have 3 questions compiled. Can I share my screen, sir?
Yeah, just a minute. I need to close in
Yes,
my screen.
I'll take the right side. Is my screen
Yeah.
visible, sir?
Not yet. Just a minute. Have you started your screen?
1 second. Yes, is my screen visible to you, sir, actually?
No.
1 second. I'll stop sharing my screen and again I will share it.
Sure, sure. Or you can post it in chat box as well. I'll read that.
Sir, is my now
Yeah,
my
yeah,
screen?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Out of order, can you explain with example in Excel? Okay, sir, it's a difficult part. Sir, Premnath ji, are you going to take this one? Then I'll not take.
I'll do it, Kuntal.
Okay, thank you. So first question, whosoever has asked, Premnath sir would be taking, since he is taking Excel. So at least I have some backing in him. Narration do not reflect a clear picture of the transaction in Excel. It only mention NEFT so and so, IMPS, RTJ. Transaction, yes, that balance narration is cut off from the display. We are unable to identify the correctness of that is true. There are the statement in extracting the transaction narration. However, I don't want to just simply say that no, it is not the case. However, these are the cases, but you can review through the system as well. In system, you can find everything there itself. However, the detailed statement, see, whenever you export anything, just ask them, we want a detailed statement rather than a abridged statement, right? So in that scenario, probably you may get all the information, but in which system you are talking about, I am not aware of. In the Finacle, there is a command called ACL POA, ACL PCA is also there, right? It depends on how we are generating this one. In I think this TCS banks as well, the statement printing is there. However, export we need to check. How to check the source of credit entry? Do we confirm that entries are not out of temporary loan taken from same branch? Sir, that is only a tricky question, that how to do it in this one. So what we generally do is, you don't need to chase all the borrowers in that sense. What we need to do is, if we find that some of the borrowers are, we are finding that this borrower is having some problem whereby there are no enough credit, or there is sparingly a credit is coming up into the account. In that scenario, select that account for a detailed scrutiny. Once you select it for a detailed scrutiny, when you find that this account is getting some credit from internal transfers, just see to it from which account that person is getting, what is the relationship between that, if you find anything into the communication file or something. And the thirdly, then if you still find that that person, by reviewing that person's account as well, you find that why this person is funding, then you need to see the TOD and that review of that account as well. So you need to actually map everything. Simply by going ahead, you may not be in a position to find all this the aspect. However, this is a collective thing that we need to do. I think there will be an example of Premnath sir in his presentation as well for related party identification and how to track that as well, right? So I think that will give you a better insight as well. Yeah.
Yes, sir. These were the questions.
Okay.
Stop sharing my screen, sir. So next session.
Yeah. Sure.
Sir.
Yeah, so I think we had a very interesting talk by Kuntal Shah on the topic of technology as an audit tool in bank audit. In fact, as rightly mentioned, that presentation could be about 7-8 hours. So we are also proposing to have a couple of other sessions on bank audit in this month of March, and we'll also try to see if we can take another slot of Kuntal ji before this month, and Kuntal ji and Premnath can work out a session. We'll plan accordingly. So on behalf of SIRC and all the members present, I would like to thank Kuntal P. Shah for sharing his rich knowledge with all our members. Only for because of his flight, I think he's going early. Otherwise, I would have had a greater interaction with the members. I thank you, Kuntalji. Thank you on behalf of his SIRC and all the members present here. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll take your leave, sir, and same to you, Premnath. Best of luck, and I'll take your leave as well. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Bye.
So members, we have the next topic, new LFAR and other certificates. And to make a presentation, we have invited CA Premnath from Hyderabad. He's a very dear friend of mine, so I'm very happy that he's pulled out time, and he's been a regular speaker on bank audit over long number of years. So before I request him to address, I would like to briefly introduce Premnath to all the members. He's a chartered accountant. He's qualified in DISA. He's also completed the certificate course at FAFD, concurrent audit course, indirect tax certificate course. He is actually a commerce graduate from SU University, Tirupati, and is a partner of C. Ramchandram and Company Chartered Accountants at Hyderabad. He has rich experience in the areas of internal and external and forensic audits of large manufacturing, infrastructure, software, PSU companies. And with reference to bank audits, he's been a team member of Central Statutory Auditors, branch statutory, concurrent and revenue audits. He's also represented with Income Tax Department on the topics of on the areas of international taxation and transfer pricing. He's been hands-on on design and review of standard operating procedures as a part of SAP implementation audit. He also has good knowledge on GST implementation services to large manufacturing, software and infrastructure companies. He's a part of, he's also done a study and review of audit of internal financial controls of PSUs listed in large manufacturing companies and a lot of private limited companies. He's carried out forensic assignments of MNCs and large manufacturing companies, and is a peer reviewer. He's a member of technical reviewer board and a member of FRRG of FRRB group of ICAI. He's been training on various at various forums from the year 2000. He's been a regular speaker on e-filing, XML, XBRL, audit under CBS. He's been a faculty to the Institute on the concurrent audit certificate course, faculty on the ICAI GST certificate course. He's a faculty on the faculty development program and on GMCS at ITT as well. He's been a regularly visiting faculty at Income Tax Department, Staff Training College, GST Central and State Government Hyderabad, GST Fraud Analytics, C&AG Staff Training Center, National Institute of Rural Development Tools, Central Vigilance Office, Andhra Bank, Indian Bank Staff Training Colleges. This has been a very brief profile of Premnath. I now request CA Premnath to address on the topic of new LFAR and other certificates. Premnath, you can start.
I think there. Okay. Yeah. Good morning. Good evening, members. At the outset, I thank SIRC, more specifically Naresh Kelly, my good friend, for giving me this opportunity. Kindly confirm whether my voice level is.
Yes, or it is like, hold on, first we had a slight lag, but now it is okay, sir. And
Yeah.
the screen is also. We'll go ahead with this.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Right. I thank Naresh Kelly sir for good words of introduction. I've learned much of the bank audit on systems because of Naresh Kelly sir, because he has given me a fantastic opportunity right from 2000 onwards, where we were involved in multiple bank audits. He has allowed me to use the technology way back in 2000. Yeah. Thank you, sir. With that, I could able to learn much of the tricks in bank audit. So let's coming back to the today's session on LFAR. My good friend, I would rather say my guru to these CBS audit is Mr. Kuntal Shah. Because of him, total Indian chartered accountants are getting benefited just because of Mr. Kuntal Shah. He is a person who has shared a lot of knowledge, a lot of commands that can be used in Finacle and all. He is one person who has contributed a lot to the guidance note. So I thank again Kuntal Shah. In this, I'm happy to be a co-speaker. Okay, coming back to the my session, let me start sharing. I would request the organizers, I keep troubling the organizers while I change the screens, because I'm not using a standard PowerPoint or a standard one file. I'll be shifting very often multiple files, so that may create some trouble to the viewers, and I keep troubling the organizers to confirm whether my screen is getting shared or not. Okay, so I'm just sharing the screen now. Sir, kindly confirm whether my PowerPoint is visible, sir.
Yes, sir, your PowerPoint is visible, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. So here, this is the scenario under which we are working today. Total GDP of this country is 232.89 lakh crores. Among this 232.89 lakh crores of GDP, the money supply that is in this country today in the banks, money supply in the banks is 199 lakh crores, and bank credit is 182 lakh crores. Among that, NPAs are 13 to 14 lakh crores, and banking fraud is 3.05 lakh crores. So this is the magnitude under which we are working today, and hence we may say that the bank balance sheet is true and fair with respect to the debit and credit entries. The similar exercise we do in non-banking also, but in non-banking we give a report called CARO along with the financial statements. But the peculiar thing in banking industry is we give true and fair balance sheet with audit report, but we don't give LFAR along with to the users, rather to the shareholders of the bank. We don't share LFAR. Unlike CARO report, we share with the shareholders. So that's a big challenge the shareholders of banks are facing today. Okay, be that as it is. Coming back here, the NPAs of 13 lakh crores or the banking fraud of 3.05 lakh crores just doesn't happen so easy. It happens because there are challenges in control weaknesses, be it CBS control weaknesses or manual process weaknesses, is contributing to 13 lakh crores or banking fraud of 3.05 lakh crores. Now, the role of chartered accountant in LFAR is to highlight those processes and control weaknesses which is contributing to this much of magnitude, which is not covered otherwise in true and fair audit report. Hence, we are moving into now the importance of LFAR. Yeah, I think I'm able to cover. I'm able to display the PowerPoint.
Yes, sir. The
PDF
PDF.
of LFAR.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So this is the 2021 notification on the LFAR. So you can just see the threshold fixed for different purposes for comments in LFAR will be decide that above the threshold, transaction detailing need to be seen and commented upon. The process, the system and process should be checked and commented upon. Mind it, this was not the case earlier. Now there is a specific instruction from the RBI that the transaction detailing need to be seen and commented for those cases the sample size is above the threshold. I'll come back to what is sample size, how to use the analytics and all, which are available at free of cost on the web. Other than Excel, you need to write a lot of, today Excel, you need to write a lot of commands, but there are tools, you just dump a data, it gives thousands and thousands of analysis, you'll get confused even, yeah. Coming again, verification of data integrity, data related controls, processes should be carried out and commented upon, with specific thrust on those inputs which are to be used for MIS at corporate office level and for supervisory and reporting purposes. These are the two guiding principles for today's LFAR, and hence the audit is more of data analytics, system related verification. And when you say about data integrity and data related control systems and processes, there are two ways of doing it. One is black box approach and white box approach. We all know about this. So we need to do it with black box because white box approach is highly, it's really a big challenge. We can't even do it because we don't know the syntaxes of programming. So best thing is to go into the data related controls through black box approach, meaning dump huge data, use the data analytics and find out the deviations with professional skepticism. I'll cover all this. Through that, we need to comment upon it. Now, the biggest challenge for these two, is to ask for the data. I'll come back to that a little later. But now let's move into the content where I said the transaction detailing need to be seen and commented upon. I said transaction threshold, transaction threshold with data analytics. Let's move on to that. Yeah. So before that, this is the total data. I have hidden the account number, customer number, and customer name to protect the confidentiality. And this is the file with so much of content here. Right. So I said first thing is the threshold here. Threshold by taking the total data. So I have certain data here. Let me demonstrate how simple it is for data analytics. I've opened multiple files, so I myself getting confused. Please bear with me. Yeah. So let's go into Zoho Analytics. It is free as of now. You can just see here. Premium trial. By the way, am I sharing this browser? Please confirm. Organizers may please confirm.
Sir.
Please confirm that am I sharing the browser?
Yes, sir, it is analytics, the workspace and dashboard recent time.
Yeah,
but
right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thanks.
So what I'm trying to say is this is much advanced tool than Excel, and which is free of cost for 14 days. Then you may be wondering, how do I do this? It's as simple as this. Go to Zoho Analytics. Go to Zoho Analytics. Then access Zoho Analytics. So since I have already opened it, I've already registered. You can also register. It is free of cost for 14 days. So once I register here, let me just go into this. This is where, now this is a screen, you will get it. And import data. Now these are all where you have various sources of data. Now I'll take Excel file, choose files. So I'm taking a demo loan analytics, open. Say next. So it has taken up demo Excel term loan, and these are all the columns. Remember, these are all the columns. For your comfort, let me just show this. Yeah. So am I sharing the Excel, please? Am I sharing the Excel, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Excel is visible. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So the same content is available here. So I'll just say next. So the total content is coming here. Say create. Now the data has 23 columns and 15,000 rows. And just say close. Just say yes. Now your dashboard is ready. Now this is the interest rate chart, which is at lower than this percentage, and the interest rates which are over a period of time, how it is increased since years. Now why this 93 onwards, the data is showing from 93 onwards. If you can just see the data here, you will find the years, you will find the sanctioned years here. You will find the sanctioned years here running from so many years, 93 onwards. This data is there since 93 onwards. So accordingly, it is showing since 93 onwards, how is this interest rates are, and what are the types of accounts. Now this is a highest type of account here. These are the highest number of accounts you have here. Now, come back to the your RBI circular. It says threshold. Say, for example, let me just take the reports. Top 10 accounts. Now, this is what RBI is saying here. Now, for this top 10, maybe based on the amounts. Now, this is what you need to take as a sampling. And when you select this sampling, it says detailed, fully, basic raw understanding. Bottom line, raw understanding is wherever there are large number of type of accounts, those large number of type of accounts, say for example, in your branch, 70% of the accounts are housing loan, then housing loan or gold loans or whatever it is. You need to go into the systems and processes because it is large number. When you have a large number of particular type of loans, there is always a chance of control weaknesses because, as Kuntal Shah was referring, all processes are not captured in CBS. I'll show you that also. I'll demonstrate that also. Since two raw principles which we all need to understand. Number one is wherever large number of amounts are there, accounts with top, scrutinize the transactions. Large number of type of accounts like gold loans, large number of gold loans, large number of housing loans, large number of MSME, go into the systems, process and documentation. Few accounts are with huge values, go into detailed transactions one by one. This is the raw principle that you need to understand. And for that, I hope you are able to see here interest rate analysis. Dashboards, limit versus interest rate. This is the interest rate where maximum part of the loans are here and the other one is scattered. Remember, this is free of cost. This is 14 days trial. Each one of the email ID, you can use it. For 14 days, you can work on it. And during the bank audit, you register with another email ID. Then you can continue for 14 more days. Okay, then these are all various reports. Now, you might be saying, sir, I need to make some more analysis. Then what I need to do? Ask Zia here. It is an English type language. Like, let me just take you to this. You have outstanding, you have irregularities. Now you don't have a dashboard. You don't have a dashboard here, commands or in the reports for irregularity and limit and outstanding. So now I would like to write a report on my own, English like language. You can just see English like language, show. Now you can just see it is giving, it's like in your Gmail, if you start writing, the artificial intelligence, based on the text you are typing, it is recommending furthermore sentences or words. In the same way, this tool is working here. Show me outstanding and irregularity. IR, irregularities. Okay. Can you see this? Now
Yes,
you want, yeah. Now you can say irregular date, irregularity versus irregular date you want to see. Most of the irregular things are those loans which are sanctioned in 2017. Similarly, account type, okay, customer name I am not, sanction date, irregularity versus sanction date. And so on. This sanction for the year. The loans that are sanctioned in 2020, 2014 and 2020, you have this much of irregularities which are sanctioned during the 2020. Okay, where do I report this? You have in your LFAR, let me take you to this LFAR, Control F, quick. I hope you're able to see this, quick mortality. Where the facility has become non-performing within a period of 12 months. So now you're dumping the total NPAs file. Let us take, say, for example, you import a file. You can import a file. Here, you can import a file, import a data. Then you can start working on these kind of things. So what, coming back, what I have stated here is, I have taken the LFAR. It's talking about threshold. I have dumped the data. I've used the Zoho, which is free of cost as of today for 14 days. And I have not written any formulas. I have not written any formulas. I said one best principle, the raw thing that you need to remember is larger the type of loans, pick those larger and verify the systems and process around that. How to verify the systems and processes? Let me take you to that. This is gold loans. Why I am saying gold loan? Because this is a CBI case on gold loans of SBI. Okay, since I have referred to CBI, let me just take you through the CBI database. This is the CBI database, cbi.gov.in, CBI, and these are all the FIRs. And very recent FIR, Bhopal, on this particular date, and this is the account, which is none other than a bank fraud, meaning every day so many cases are filed by the CBI, in which at least once in 2 days you find one bank fraud case, and this is one bank fraud case. And you will find the complaint written, and you can also see the forensic report. Those who have a craze towards the forensic, they can learn from these reports. This is what they have mentioned here. In the same way, I have taken out a CBI FIR case on the bank audits, in Visakhapatnam case, filed 2021 June on SBI Bank with respect to the gold loans. So that's what now I am reading out. I'm just going into Excel here. So multiple gold loans were availed by 246 members, 319 accounts involving an amount of 669 lakhs, where gold loan bags are not traceable, which loans were sanctioned since February 2018. Most of the loan applications do not bear photos, not adhered to KYC, signatures as required by the bank, signature of the borrower are differing in few cases, and so on and so on and so on. I don't want to read out and bore you, but how this has happened, let us see the processes. And this is the risk control matrix for agri gold loan, and there is a process and there is a sub process. And here I'll just read out for your convenience. This is a process of sale of gold loans. Sub process is how to source a client, and there are so many sub processes. One is sourcing a client, an application process, gold appraiser, eligible assessment. You have all these processes. All these processes are captured in the flow chart here. Wherever this is there, it says this is automated. This is the only thing automated, and rest of the things, this is called as manual process, Manual process. This is a legend for manual process. You can find out of all this, there's only one thing is called as CBS. That process is opening loan account and feeding interest and repayment schedules in CBS. Except for this, all the processes are manual processes. Okay, then what this? So manual process, what is the controls you have? Whether automated or manual, you can see here. Let me just filter how many manual processes are there in this. This is the control here, whether it is manual or so. So I'll deactivate and select only manual. And you can see here, there are 11 manual processes out of how many? Out of total 15 processes, 11 processes are manual, meaning is this. And where do you need to comment on? Where do you need to comment on these things? You need to comment all your things in LFAR. It says CBS. Yeah. Under books and records, whether there are any software systems, manual or otherwise, used at the branch which are not integrated with CBS. I hope you are able to appreciate. In case branch has been subjected to IS audit, whether there are any adverse features, branch is generating, verifying exceptional, and so on and so on. Whether branch has laid down procedure for manual intervention to the system generated data and proper authentication of related transactions arising, manual intervention. You can see here processes with lot of manual intervention. Now it says preventive controls. And what is the type of control here? It is all maker and checker, maker and checker, maker and checker. Remember, maker and checker means Nirav Modi. The moment you remember the word called maker and checker, we get reminded of only one person called Nirav Modi, because 14 years of time, 14 years, 14,000 crores of LC frauds were going on in Delhi Punjab National Bank for 14 years, where the SWIFT is not integrated and where it is manual, maker and checker. And now that is what I said, and that's what I said here. 13 lakh crores is the NPA and 3.05 lakh crores of frauds. That is, so within the given short period of time, I am only trying to demonstrate, number one, how data analytics can be made and how you need to integrate it with the reporting. Okay, having said, let me take you again to the Excel. Let me take you to Excel again. Yeah. So if you have to report on LFAR like this, on all these issues, you need to have a data. You need to ask certain data. Now, what data you need to ask? Information required. Now, through an audit engagement letter, when you get the audit appointment letter, after celebrating the receipt of audit appointment letter, then quickly send an audit engagement letter attaching the requirements. How much requirements? You can see here almost 96 pieces of information. You need to ask 96 pieces of information to the banker, and accordingly you need to start working. Now, how do you have a track of control on this audit control sheet? Now, why am I asking this question? Or why am I asking concurrent audit reports? I am asking concurrent audit reports because in LFAR, Control F. So in framing your audit report, LFAR, have you considered the major adverse comments arising out of latest such reports? Previous branch audit, internal audit, SNAP, concurrent audit, blah, blah, blah. So if you have to report on this, you need to ask for concurrent audit reports. Now here I am saying, I am asking this requirement to report under 7A. Is the 7A? Yes, under 7A. So who is going to handle this? Some team member will be handling this. Now, did you obtain? Yes, 10 months of files is obtained. Now, what is the observation that you are making? Auditor comment on this. It says party A unit is closed, party Z not submitting stock statements, party M restructuring is not as per RBI, party A, B, Z and so on are all NPAs. These are all the comments made by the concurrent auditor out of the 10 files. Now you will ask a reply, you will ask the branch manager to reply to your comments, and you will make an audit note. Through this audit note, and this audit note is generated as per SA 265. Now you are the CA firm, the banker, and you'll start asking the questions, and you will take the management representation at this point, and then start. So whether this point, what the banker has given reply without evidence, he has given a reply without evidence. Now, what is your observation on that? Is it a significant? I have taken certain, I say material misstatement. This is resulting in material misstatement. That is a significant non-compliance to HO circulars or misapplication of advances not intended for the end use. Now, these are all my significant notes based on this. Remember, I am tracking this to the LFAR. And now, to which point this, to which LFAR point are you going to link this observation? Is it to the cash? Is it to something else? Is it to something else? Is it to something else? You have all this. And if you have a reference, annexure, you put a reference to this. And further to this LFAR, are you going to mention somewhere else? Yes, I'm going to mention it in LFAR or MOC or GOES and Jilani committee and so on, or to any other certificates. I have a control here. Now, this is how you can integrate a small Excel workings through for a proper reporting into the LFAR various points. So this is one such thing. Okay, let me recapitulate what we have been talking about. I'll take you through the LFAR once again. Remember again, at the cost of boring you, I keep saying this. Transactions detailing need to be done and commented upon. The systems and process needs to be checked upon. Then data integrity, and you have just now seen the data integrity. Okay, let me just talk on data integrity, data related controls and processes. Regarding the KYC, Kuntal Shah was talking about the KYC. Let me just take you to that process now here. Yes. Now I have loan balancing file. I have taken the data from loan balancing file, which has customer number, account number and name, and CCOD, again same customer number, account number and name. And this is the deposit file where again customer number, product code, account type and name of the account holder. Now, Kuntal Shah was talking about the KYC, unique SIF and so on. Let us observe here. What I have done is I have merged all the accounts, all the loan files, add CCOD, add deposit into this particular file. And somewhere I have seen K Geeta, Geeta K, and Geeta Suresh Kamath. I thought there could be some relation among. Now, when I have seen it, when I've got the KYC document of K Geeta, the PAN number, father's name, and PAN number and father name of this account is same, but and the PAN number and the father name and phone number are similar to this account also, meaning there are 3 customer IDs. This is one customer ID, this is one customer ID, and this is another customer ID. The fun is this K Geeta is the branch manager. Now, this is not intentional. I don't say it is intentional. This has happened when we have inquired. This has happened when she got transferred from one branch to the another branch. Each time she's transferred, she was opening one deposit account, a new deposit account, a new loan account. As and when a new loan account or a new deposit account is opened, she was not adding to the existing SIF number. And hence, so many accounts were created. Is this possible? Let me take you through the internal control questionnaire. You can see the process here. Loan, customer called. You can see here if the loan is available. It will be, if the account is available, you can see whether the client has already a SIF. If client has a SIF, who has to say that the client has a SIF? Whether the branch has to say, or the borrower or the account holder has to say, sir, I already have a SIF. The account holder will not tell that I already have a SIF. Then he says, no, sir, I don't have a SIF. A new account is created. If they say yes, they'll ask you to share, you will do it. But the CBS is not able to say this account is already existing in the system. Now, that preventive controls are missing in the system, and hence these kind of things are happening. So this is one way of doing it. Is there any other way of doing this? Let's go back to that. Yeah, this is what our friend Mr. Kuntal was referring to. Fuzzy lookup. You can go to fuzzy lookup, Google, download it, add it to your Excel, and it will appear here. Fuzzy lookup. Right. Now I have written the process here. Obtain the customer master, both loans and deposits. Paste one below another, loan master and deposit master. On the content, create a table. Control L. Apply fuzzy lookup. Observe most similar names. Perform KYC document check to rule out the document. That's what I have done for the K Geeta and Geeta K. Why are we doing this? We are doing this. This process is to be reported under LFAR. Let me take you to the LFAR. Control F, KYC. Yeah. So this is where it is. Implementation of KYC and AML. To report this here, you need to carry out these processes. And you find here, right? Let me just go back to this fuzzy lookup now. Yeah. So what I'm trying to do now is go to fuzzy lookup. Okay, let me explain what this fuzzy lookup is. Like say a name can be A, B, C, D. One name can be A, B, C, D, and another name can be C, D, B, A, meaning K Geeta and Geeta K. And that's what Kuntal Shah was saying. There's a space. The another name can be B, D, C, A. This can be the combinations. Now when A, B, C, D, A dot space dot B, C, D is there, then in sorting, you can able to get it in one place. But when the name in one place is Geeta K and another is K Geeta, then this is the problem you face. So when you use fuzzy lookup, what the system does is it compares A, B, C, D content with or without spaces with in the same database. It will find out whether there is any name called CDBA, whether there is any name called BDCA. This is not possible using Excel sort. Let me check that now. So I'll use fuzzy lookup. Table 1 is this table 1, and I'm comparing again with table 2 within the same table. I want 2 names only because you can have n number of names here, combinations here. For simplicity, I just take only 2. Just say go. Sorry. I want to do that here. So I'll just say okay. Yeah. Now it has thrown the names here. Now you can see here. Yeah. Kindly observe here. Abhinandan Gulecha. It has just stepped down, but otherwise Abhinandan Gulecha, Abhinandan Gulecha, and Abhinandan Gulecha. Now you find here Gulecha Abhinandan and Abhinandan Gulecha. One step down it has come. Otherwise, you will find Muhammad Sirajuddin is there, and then another name is called Sirajuddin Muhammad is there in this names. Okay, the point. I hope you got the. You can play with this. The concept is if the name is A, B, C, D, and in the same database you have B, C, D, A, this fuzzy lookup will throw out, which is not possible through your sort or filter. Now, so this is one way of finding out this. Sorry to say this. I'm right now at Bangalore, and then I have to board train at 8 o'clock. So it takes minimum 40 minutes for me to travel from the place where I am to the Bangalore station now. So I think kindly permit me to stop the session here. Anyhow, on 20th, I have a privilege to meet the members again. Thanks to Naresh Giri sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I think I've stopped sharing.
So we have another session coming up on 20th of March. So I think we'll have a further presentation, a detailed presentation that day. It will be about at least 3 hours session, I'm sure. So thank you, Premnath, and sharing a lot of information and tricks on the compiling the data and with reference to LFAR and reporting. So, friends, thank you all for registering for this bank audit, bank branch audit webinar for SIRC. We are planning for a couple of more sessions on bank audit. We had a couple of sessions on 5th and 6th, again on 11th and 12th, and we have another session on 28th, and furthermore coming up on around 25th, one more session we are planning. And we are also trying to work out a session on live interaction like last time we had. We're planning to have a live interaction with at least 3-4 of members who are having.
I think Premnath has some error and Naresh sir's really show he has like left the session. So thank you so much for being here, sir. So
Thank you.
we have one question compiled. Do you want to take the question or will
I think I don't have, yeah, madam, I don't have time to take the questions. You can mail me, I'll answer, and then you can share it with them, madam.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much. Sorry for the, I'm not able to do proper justice. There are a lot of things to be shared, but this was an unexpected trip to Bangalore, so I need to rush to the station. Please, I beg your pardon for the inconvenience caused. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Permit me to log out.
Yes.
Yes.